and home from our holiday in Malta. It's time to get those last few jobs done before we finally leave Gosport for the very last time and head off down to Cornwall, where we'll be wintering this year in Malta. We've been testing out an induction hob and an air fryer oven to see if we have the power to run these units off-grid before we look to making it a permanent feature. It turns out an evening meal requires about 1 kilowatt hour to produce, so approximately 10% of our usable capacity, which should be fine if we get some sunshine occasionally. I made a frame from marine ply and some stainless steel studding, and Sam stained and varnished it before we installed it into the space where the original gas cooker lived. And here's the final result. As you can see, she's not going to win any design awards, but she's pretty functional. So let's go through it. We've obviously got these studs here that pull the bottom up to this top end here and actually grip the cooker between the two. There's four, obviously will go around all sides. And then up on the top here we have the hob itself, which we put silicone pads on, which will give us the ability to use it underway without the pan sliding around too much. I've looked at other options, but this still seems to be the best. Hasn't been fully tested, but we'll let you know how that gets on. In addition to that, we've actually put it on a gimbal, so it still sits on a gimbal. As you can see, it still rotates backwards and forwards, and that, so again, it should be able to hold itself underway. And then down here, a couple of little features. I use this door lock here to lock it in place when we're in harbour. And in addition to that, I've also put this weight on the bottom. It's an old dive weight, which I've actually screwed and used an old dive belt to hold it in place, and that gives me the ability to do two things. One, I can slide it up and down and adjust the weight backwards and forwards just to make sure that it stays level. In addition to that, I found as well that it also dampens the whole swing mechanism down because it's just that little bit heavier, so it stops quite a bit quicker. Good morning, and today we're unpacking our dinghy for the first time since we moved aboard, and I'm going to have to work out the best way to sling her from the davits. But first we need to inflate her and give her a name. We picked the True Kit design as they're very light for their size, incredibly stable, are designed to work well with our electric outboard, and the Discovery model has an open front to help when we want to board. Only time will tell if this is a good investment, as it's not cheap, but so far I'm not disappointed. Looks like I'm going to be playing with different securing options for some time yet. Just had a conversation with Rob Kemp at Kemp Sales, who's doing our Code Zero, and it turns out that the spinnaker halid we have is designed for a sock, and is far too close to the forestay that we've got. So what's going to have to happen is we're going to move the sheave box to the top of the mast, and that gives it more space so we can actually then run the roller furling system. We then had a conversation with JW Rigging, and they pointed out to fit this box they've got to step the mast. So we're going to have the mast taken down, and we're going to have the box put in. At the same time, we're going to have our pole fitted, because they said it's a good idea to fit the pole at the same time. It's much easier to do it then. And I've decided, well, if I'm going to do all of that, I might as well fit the radar. So what looked like was going to be a relatively straightforward job has now turned into something much bigger. Well, let's see how it turns out. The mast is stepped at the same place we haul out, so we're heading round to meet the crane. Coming in, we meet the L'Occitane Immoca race yacht, and those foils are worth £500,000, so that's an insurance I really want to avoid.
ring down there, but I know it's still you're still going to know it's there, haven't you?
JW Rigging are soon aboard and work begins getting the mast down. This is a great team and I would highly recommend them if ever you need work done in the Portsmouth area. As the mast is down, I've taken the opportunity to fit our radar, and I'm glad I did, as it would have been a much bigger challenge with the mast in situ, especially as I decided to install additional conduit and a hailer. Checking the rest of the electronics, I discovered the aerial was just taped up, so maybe it's time for a new one. The new aerial doesn't have the greatest of fittings, as you just seem to push the cable into the aerial and tighten it down. But as it's all I could get at short notice, I'm sure it'll be fine. A few days later, we are on our way back to the dock to have our mast fitted back onto Luena. Looks like we may need to wait this time, but within a few minutes we are heading in. Again, the team are back on and the mast is making its way into its rightful position. Oh God, just been told that there's a crack in one of our spreaders. So that means more delays. They've got to order up 2 new spreaders. Thank you, Selden. They only sell them in pairs by all accounts. And the guy's going to fit them as soon as they can. Just gutted. So it looks like we're going to be here for another week or so. What can I say? The guys at JW Rigging have been great and managed to get the new spreaders within a few days. And because they feel they should have found it when they stepped the mast, they're not going to charge us to fit them. Now that's what I call service. As I said before, Selden, bless them, sell these spreaders in pairs. So though there's nothing wrong with the other one, we're having them both replaced. Shame on you, Selden. While we had planned to be gone by now, the delays have given us the opportunity to see the Clipper race yachts before they head off on the 3rd of September.
And we tried to run it once with 7 crew for lasted 2 days. It was quite hard.
Seeing on board the yachts gave both Sam and I the realisation just how basic racing yachts are, and it's really not for us. And they're off, with a parade past the Spinnaker Tower before heading out into the Solent and then west to the Needles. So yes, we've had some challenges, but it's not all been doom and gloom. We have managed to sail around the Isle of Wight, as well as down to Studland to try out some of our new toys. Next time, we leave the Solent for the very last time. We experience our first mooring ball in Studland,
Take over reverse.
and I end up back up the mast because that new aerial turns out to be a bit of a lemon.
Right. Safety on.
Until next time, stay safe.